Okay. All right. And I'm going to take a recorded statement, and we'll be ready to go as soon as you just go ahead and tell me the story. So tell me exactly what the police did. Why did they show up?
Okay, they showed up to respond to a complaint about them. They told the neighbors down the street that I slashed their tires. I walked by one day on May 14th of 2009, and the neighbor threatened me. He threatened to burn down the building.
Mm-hmm.
So I came home, told my roommate, which is also my landlord, and told him what was going on. And we called to complain about the false allegation. Nobody showed up until 4 hours later. They showed up, forced their way into the apartment building, came in. I was in my room and told to stay in my room. They were arguing with Mr. Kuzma, my roommate. And, it was getting loud out here. There was, I didn't like what I was overhearing. So I came out and got involved in the argument. And they handcuffed me. Okay? And I guess they put me under arrest for getting involved in my own apartment. So anyway, Mr. Kuzma put his hands in the air and says, "Hold it, wait a minute." And without touching the police officer, the police officer accused him and said, "Don't you dare touch me." Now, Mr. Kuzma did not touch him. He just held his hands in the air like, "Wait a minute." Okay? They struck Mr. Kuzma to the ground. He's an 87-year-old man with a heart condition. They put him in the hospital, and he had a $10,000 hospital bill. They put me in the county jail. I brought all kind of false and frivolous charges.
What did they charge you with?
2 of them were felonies. And there were 6 charges against me, which were all false charges. I was in jail for 19 days. I was denied bail for 19 days. Mr. Kuzma tried to bail me out, but they wouldn't release me.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, I got released. Okay. Now, let me get to the part about when they were here in the apartment. They struck him to the ground, put him in the hospital, arrested me, dragged me out of the house without a shirt on. They wouldn't even let me get a shirt on. And on the way down the steps, they beat my head into the wall. Mr. Kuzma witnessed this because he came to by then. They beat my head into the wall. There's dents in the wall in the hallway. And this is why I was handcuffed. They were verbally abusive. Once we got to the police station, there was a 3rd officer there. I guess he was okay. The abuse stopped once we got to the police station. But anyway, the case went to trial. We took it to trial. They offered a plea deal for misdemeanor assault. They offered to drop all 6 charges and take 1 year probation for misdemeanor assault.
Oh, and that was against you?
That was against me, yes.
Oh, okay. All right, and did you take the deal?
So I'm on 1 year probation. We spent, I believe, $8,500 on legal fees and bail. This put me into bankruptcy. I'm unable to pay my bills. Would you like to hear Mr. Kuzma's
Yes,
side of this?
yes, I'd like to hear his side of the story as well.
Okay, Joe here. Here you go.
Okay, sir, can you tell me what the police did to you?
Oh, yes, they did. He backhanded. I went against the wall in the hallway, and I was stunned. I was stunned that a policeman hit me. In my days, years back, the police were very friendly. They went out of their way to help. I couldn't believe it. First thing you know, I'm on the ground, and the paramedics are right there. So the paramedic is trying to get me, take my vitals. So they had to help me up. And so my bedroom was right there, 2 steps away. So while he was taking the vitals, I heard some kind of banging. I couldn't believe it. I said, is he banging with his head against the wall? I said, no. I heard it again. By then, the paramedics were trying to get me to go to the hospital. I was arguing with them. I was worried about my sister, who was 87, and she is ill, and she buzzes me when she needs me. Also, I was worried what's going to happen to Richard. Okay, so here I finally agreed to go with the paramedics. They wouldn't let me while I was in my pajamas. They put me in a chair and took me to the hospital. So I was in the hospital overnight and all next day. In the evening, I was getting more worried what's going on. So I signed myself out the next morning, and I waited for the cab to bring me home. When I got home, I called the police station first thing to find out what's going on with Richard. The officer that answered, oh, your buddy is in a lot of trouble. He has all kind of trouble. He has all kind of charges. I said, what kind of charges? He said, oh, I'm not at liberty to tell you. I said, well, can I speak to him or can I bring his glasses? He needs his eyeglasses. They said no. So I said, well, can I drop in? No, he's already in Allegheny County Jail. I was surprised. I thought they would keep him, here. So that's where he was. So I'm home for a couple of days, and it was working on me so bad that 3 days later they had to rush me back to the hospital because I was under so much stress. What's going on? They wouldn't let me talk to Richard. He's put away and everything. And I've been taking Richard. He's in the back apartment. He subleases it. I have no problems with him. He pays his rent and everything. And I have to take him to, whenever it's his visits, I take him. And so here I am. I had to go back in the hospital. They kept me for 3 days. Of course, they took almost the same test over on my heart and everything. So that was another bill that came from the Blue Shield, another $10,000 bill, which they paid. But what I was concerned about is when I come home, I tried to get Richard. I called the police, I called the Allegheny County and found out, and they gave me his number and everything. So he was able to call me, but he had to wait a couple of days because they don't allow any phone calls for a day or two. So he did call. So I was so worked up. I have a friend, I took him with me to go and post the bail bond. Mm-hmm. So we went to there. I made arrangements, and the bail bond lady, I paid her the $500,